Hello, mayors. So you can see the shared screen. This is, we are in group 1. This is the exercise panel for our group. And there's some sticky notes already being placed on the panel. And our goal is to allow mayors to actively participate and then respond to each of the target. And Sam will input your response, record your responses onto those sticky notes. Is there any question before we start? Okay, we are going to work on the first target. This is target 1, connect to SDG 11, sustainable communities and cities. And this target is for ensuring access for all to adequate, safe, and affordable housing and basic services and upgrade slums. So does any mayor like to share what local priorities you have connected to this target? Anything you think has implications or either directly address this issue, target, or indirectly, you can voice your input.
Is the target 11.1 and also target 11.2 is similar or two different things? Because I cannot see the red target.
Yeah. Okay.
Similar.
Yeah. Point 2 is address transportation system.
I see. So now we need to focus on the first blue one, right? The blue color.
Yeah. I think we have total 45 minutes. I wonder if we can address each one, let's say 8 to 10 minutes, so that we have about 8 to 10 minutes at the end to summarize.
Okay. So now we can think and put in the local priorities, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great slum.
So how do you what are your local actions, priorities that you use to address affordable housing? And this is connected to slum upgrade, new development, etc. Mayor.
Yeah, I'm Mayor from Adu City Motives. Would like to add something on this target 11.1. Here in Maldives, we don't. It's not common to have slums, so I don't have much experience on slums here. Especially in our city, we don't have. But I have observed and have seen some of these situations in my neighboring countries. So what I feel is that these slums are being created in a way that that by itself it has come. It was not been organized or it was not been pre-planned. So we need to have intervene from the local or municipal authorities on these areas, and to propose a plan, a proper plan on what we are going to do, whether we are going to relocate those slums or to have a plan on the existing areas. So relocation can be an option, because with the relocation, we can have a well-planned place where we will have those services like housing, a good housing, and other related services like water and sewerage, electricity. Those things can be implemented in a location, a new location. If we try to implement or provide those services to an existing slum, we will have challenges because those slums won't be having good roads or ways for those services to get implemented. So I would propose a relocation or to discuss with the residents of those areas to relocate and for the relocation, definitely we need to have adequate funds or enough funds have to be relocated. So somehow those funds have to be managed or funds have to be arranged through the sources from the central government or other related sources. We can have funds to do it. And for this, maybe there can be some slums which will have so much of people and so much of other needs would be there. So which will have enough cost. So those things have to be addressed, and we can suggest and we can discuss and we can negotiate with the residents of those slums for relocation. So I would suggest to relocate those slums to areas where with areas with good planning.
Thank you for sharing this initiative and then your understanding. This is a great consideration when we think about affordable housing. But I'd like to ask you, in your city, not necessarily related to informal settlement, but when you think about planning for new development or planning for new housing development, how would you address housing affordability? Do you have any tools that you've used or any strategies you have used?
For housing here in Maldives, our law says that we have to provide land for free for every residence. The law will be common in some other place, but it can be different because it's not free land that will be provided in other countries. But here in Maldives, we are providing free land. The legislation says that we have to provide free land for them. So we provide free land. Even here in Addu City, in our term, we have already given more than 3,000 housing plots to people to live. And for them to build a house, it can be a challenge because immediately they can't be allocating funds to build a house. So what the council do is that we will facilitate, we will negotiate with them, with the banks. And those lands that we allocate for them can be mortgaged, which can be mortgaged in the bank. Then they can take funds, they can take loans from the banks. That we will facilitate. The council will do that. And also the central government have its own plans for housing. Like social housing, flats will be built, row houses will be built, which will be given to the people, like what you do in other parts of the world also. What they do is they will give it to the people in a very low installment basis, where they have to pay a monthly a small amount to the government. That's what they do. So social housing is mostly like that, but there can be some luxury options where some real estate owners would sell luxury houses. That is totally different. But here in our city, it is very common to have social housing programs by the government with the housing plots, or the housing plots will be given to the people in a very affordable rates.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there others, mayors who would like to join the discussion? I know affordable housing is a common challenge in many Asia Pacific cities.
Okay, let me share what I have just now. I will add some more throughout the discussion. The first thing is actually on the local priorities. We have our own local plan that we identify block of boundaries for redevelopment. Okay, that is on the planning policies. We are looking also at any bylaws for redevelopment, especially that can assist us on redevelopment, for new redevelopment, like for black space or on abandoned buildings. Yeah. And also for the local priorities, maybe we are also looking at in terms of policies, looking at proposal for redevelopment, and also for data and information supporting decision. We engagement with all the various stakeholders, data on stakeholders, including all the stakeholders that will be involved for the slum area, including of local communities, businesses, civil societies, and also government department. Okay. For the I think that's for all. I will think about later. I will add on later. Okay, data information supporting decisions. Maybe.
Okay, great. I'd like to see if we move on to the next target now. I think it's about 10 minutes we spend on this. But feel free if you want to jump in to still talk about affordable housing. We can still input your response. I'd like to allow all the targets to be equally addressed here. Okay, so this is about affordable, accessible transport system. You have Mayor wanted to talk about what locally.
The transportation. Local policies. You need to reduce traffic congestion. Reducing traffic congestion, providing
more public transportation
and also calming the traffic light, providing ample time for how to say, local priorities is identify the most suitable accessibility lah. Yeah, suitable, identify accessibility, sustainable accessibility. Identify sustainable accessibility. Providing IoT, Internet of Things regarding with traffic light. IoT for suiting the traffic congestion. Okay, this is our local priorities. Giving mobility, like we are actually providing DRT, demand rapid transport. Providing DRT, demand rapid transport. Maybe they can actually download the apps and they can book earlier to make sure that using the suitable vehicles to go and from one destination to next destination. DRT, demand rapid transport, DRT. D. Demand rapid transport. Okay. Demand rapid transport is a local priorities. The transport that we have here. In terms of planning. Commission, supporting decisions. Engage with the people, engage with the citizens. Engage with citizen to understand what is their problem with regard to the traffic issue. Yes, address citizens regarding traffic issues. Yeah. The attack in supporting decision. Providing infrastructure for providing infrastructure like because when you need the IoT things, you need the infrastructure so that you can tap from one point to another point. So you actually building the the telcos, the how
The ridership cost.
the structure. Yeah, that is the one. Implementation. Data information supporting decision for traffic systems. Yeah.
This is the day also table size well. Proper as to say.
Some program priorities. What else have you had? On
This is great to, yeah, use technology to address this issue. Does your city have any transportation planning, land use planning, housing planning?
Yeah, we have that. We have the we have the local plan. We have the local plan that stated where is the accessibility, where is the road, where is the highways, where is the MRT, the LRT, what you call it? LRT, public transportation. We have all the in the structure plan. We align where is the highways, where is the public transportation using the like railway transit, the LRT, and also the MRT. MRT stands for what?
Public transport.
Public transport. We have all that information actually. And also it's also evolved the territorial planning because from one local authorities to the also next localities, we also have accessibility. So whatever we face here, and also we also communicate with other city so that whatever decision or whatever new development that occur in that city, we actually collaborate each other. That is what we understand at territorial planning.
Great, thank you.
Because we are local government, we actually we manage our cities to what we have, but also we need also to collaborate with our neighbor city, and also because we also have three level of government. We have federal government, we have also state government, and also we have local government. So we are actually local government. So we really need to get the buy-in. We really need to understand what is actually the policies regarding the public transportation, so that when they want to come to our area, they also have to understand what is our needs. So that is actually territorial planning. So we really connect to each other so that whatever decision that made from the federal when they want to come to our area, so we can actually harmonize.
Great.
Yeah, intercity communication.
Let's see if we can get input from other mayors. I think this is all great in terms of how you use planning to address transportation affordability and accessibility and equity. So other mayors, please, I'd like to hear from you too.
Yeah, would like to add something on that. Again here, I'm Nizar from Addu City. This is also a very important part of a development target. I think having an affordable, accessible, sustainable transport system. I think mostly in our rural areas, we observe that we have very narrow pathways or roads. I think that's also something that we have to address. Once we have a development, a good development, it will be difficult for us to manage the transport system, whatever we have. If we have those narrow ways or narrow pathways or roads. So it is very important for us to address on that and try to widen most of the roads that we have in most of our rural areas, which definitely is going to happen with a cost. Mostly we will have residential houses or some local businesses resided on both sides of these roads, but I think somehow allocating some funds for that will be a good beneficial step that we can take for the future of whatever region, whatever village or city it is. So it is very important to address on that for as we move on future. And for a sustainable transport, I think it is very much needed thing to ensure to have an affordable, a sustained transport system, whether it is private or whether it is a governmental system which have to come. So in my city, what we are experiencing is the public transport system is mostly being controlled or which is being funded by the central government. So we have buses, we have islands, which the islands have been connected by ferry services. So the government we assure that we have a reliable, an affordable system within. So we have regular meetings with them, getting updated, and also we make sure that those the system that we have been the service would be sustained in a way that even with the cost of with the hike on fuel and those things, the cost of that system won't go up. So there are some situations where we have to subsidize or we have to fund to keep the rates as it is, even the fuel rates or other things goes up. So that is how we manage it, and to address most of this transport system, I think we all have to have in mind that this with the affordable good accessible transport only we can achieve development. So we must make sure that we will have connections with our neighboring cities, with our neighboring villages, so that the transport of it's not only people who would be transporting, it will be they will be transporting goods from one city to another, which will give a boost up to the economy of our region or our city or our village.
Mhm. Well, thank you. We have two other mayors in the room. Like to hear from mayors from Shushila Shaki, a mayor from Adisho Manohara. Would you like to share with us your city's, your local action priorities? Mayor from Shushila Shaki, I saw you unmute a moment. Would you like to continue?
Okay, can I just add some more? We are also local priorities. Sorry, Dr. Yiz, who can I say? Can I
Yes,
add?
go ahead. Yes, yes.
For the transportation, we are also trying to provide smart traffic lights that can ease the transportation, and also we actually use of ask the netizen to use more public transportation rather than using their own vehicles, because we provide all the highways, we provide all the light railway transit, we build the infrastructure for MRT, for example. So we need them to use the public transportation. So we provide the local priorities is clear to ensure citizens use the public use the public transportation like MRT or LRT. So we actually providing hop on something like the connection between the houses and also to the LRT station. So we give that we call it I forgot what is the right word for that, because we need to bring these people from the residential, the strata, from the residential development. So we provide the public transportation. So if they want to go to use the public transportation, we provide all this we call it
The transfer.
mobility. The public transport for them to use the MRT and all that.
Great, great.
There is actually a compact development in the
Mhm.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shuttle. It's shuttle. The shuttle services, providing the shuttle services for that people can use the public transport.
Mhm.
Because in the city is a compact city, because there always a problem with traffic congestion. So
Mhm.
we provide them the shuttle services so that they can use the shuttle services rather than use their own vehicles to go to get the services from the public transportation. LRT
great.
and also.
Yeah, that's great service that you're
Yeah.
doing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so how about we move on to the next target? So this one is pertaining to heritage, natural cultural heritage. I guess it doesn't have to be on the world list being at that level of significance. So as long as it's considered as significant to your local culture, to your city, what have you done, or what actions or strategies you use to protect or safeguard those heritage, culture, and nature? So mayors who have had that chance to share your experience, I'd like to hear from you. Please go
Yes,
ahead.
yeah, I think this is a very wide topic if we have to discuss on it. Is not only targeting to protect or safeguard our own cultural and natural heritage that what we have here in our cities. It says that world's cultural and heritage. So, but anyway, whatever we have as our heritage or cultural race, which involves within the world. So everybody has their own responsibilities to protect their culture and heritage and history. I think we can share on what we do to do that. I think that's what we are doing now. Here in Addo City, we have already implemented a policy whereby we will have our own museum. We have the National Museum in our capital, but still we thought that as we are very far from our capital, we also have our own ways. I mean, we as islands, we have our own dialect of speaking, we have our own cultural ways, we have our own heritage, and so on. So I think we will have our own setup of museum here in the city. So we already have started it, and also within the museum we will have an art gallery where we will show our history and ways of our life, historical ways through art. So we will have art gallery also within the museum facility. So the museum also will show not only artifacts, historical items. Virtually, we will use modern ways of presenting our history and culture. So we already have started the project. So within the next 6 to 7 months time, we can complete it. So that's what we are doing. And to address on the topic, I would say that it's very crucial and very important to show what our culture is, what our history is, what we have from our heritage to our visitors. So we all have to our all cities. We will be having a frequent visitors. So for the visitors, we must create a way to show them what we have. So having our own facility like museum or such platform will expose our culture and heritage. I think that's what we can do.
That's great strategy to help preserve your local cultural heritage.
Can I share what we have in my city? So for data and also information supporting decision for natural heritage, we actually hire consultant to assess the natural heritage to make sure we know that it's actually they have a element of natural heritage. And also we I think data, okay. On data and information supporting decisions, we engage with the local and also indigenous community because they live there, they know what's going on in their area because they stay in that area for so long. And also we gazetted the area for certain heritage, you know. We gazette it as a geopark area after the assessment. So when we gazetted the area as a geopark, it is well known, so it's easy for us to get because it's easy for us when it was gazetted. It's easy for us to communicate with the to get the funding. It's either from the federal and also from the tourism, and also from the state funding. And also we plan we propose what is our way forward to preserve the natural heritage. Yeah,
Natural heritage.
propose a way forward for local priorities, for plan for the natural heritage.
Great,
That's
great.
all. Maybe if I can add some more later, I will come back.
Yeah, yeah. Out of curiosity, you mentioned that you get funding for all the activities that aimed at preserving local cultural and natural heritage. Do you have maybe information or data on how much spent on the per capita level?
At this moment, we are actually at the infant stage. We just locate the area. Because you know, Ampang Jaya is actually 54% of our area is actually green area. So one of the forest area is actually we have a lot of natural heritage, that we have the open surface quartz, which I mean the size is quite huge, and also the quartz has been there for so many years. So we actually the state government has gazetted the area as a natural heritage for open surface quartz in country in this country lah. But it will also take a lot of we need to have we really need to look into it, plan it well to get all the expert to advise on what we can do or what we can preserve on the quartz
Great, great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we don't have the information on the how
Mhm.
many capital that we can still at the infant stage. But we are actually in our in our pipeline, because we also have a lot of 54% of my area is a green area. We
Mhm.
are actually looking forward to sell sort of because if for the the carbon issues, carbon trading, but it's quite complex. That will be another level of discussion. So
Yes.
because we just we make use whatever we have in our local, and it will take so many discussion for us to really make use of what the resources that we have.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that information or the data I just mentioned is one of the indicators that the UN has identified as a way to assess SDG achievement. I can see the challenge at the local level, how you can use those indicators. This precisely points out the disconnection between SDGs, which is established at the national level, and how they can be used to guide city or local level development. And even we're talking about this target 11.4. This is a target connected SDG 11, and you see the world cultural and natural heritage. It makes sense at national level, but may not be really relevant when you look at the local level, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's just say we move to the last target so that we can finish all of them before the time runs up. So this one is about green public space and make them safe, inclusive, accessible to all, particularly for women and children. So what are the local strategies and approaches that you've taken to ensure that outcome? And Mayor, yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Then,
QBBL. Lepas tu kita ada OKU Universal.
yeah, once we do planning, it's very important, I think, to leave enough spaces for people to enjoy, especially once we build up a residential area, or once we do a planning for residential area. It is very important to keep enough spaces. We can allocate those places as small parks or green areas, where in the future, once those areas get congested or being highly populated, I think those areas can be used as breathable spaces. So it's very important to keep it like that. So once we do any sort of planning to our cities, we must allocate good spaces for that. And also, it's not only green spaces that we must allocate. There can be some public services which may come up, like we must have some religious buildings must come. If it is Muslim area, mosques will come. If it is Buddhist, I think temples must come, and those spaces also have to be allocated. And also there can be some other useful needs like electrification and water and sewerage services. For that also, we have to address and keep spaces. It's not only those green spaces, doesn't mean only parks. I think those spaces we can keep as green spaces until we make it for another purpose. So those public, especially I would say that public space is very important. Public spaces, live in public spaces is very important once we do a planning to our cities.
Great. I think it's a great point that you think about green space as a multifunctional space. It could help satisfy or fulfill a lot of purposes. Yeah, that's a great strategy. I really hope the two other mayors in the breakout room could join our conversation. This could be related to anything you consider as public space or allow residents to gather, come in.
Maybe on the doctor, maybe on the data and information supporting decision, we have the population data on population projections, especially to get the statistic or the data on elderly that stay in our area. And also for local priorities, we also have uniformity building bylaws that guide for development just to cater the needs of the elderly, you know. What else we have?
So nowadays it's become increasingly innovative when people think about creating green space. It could be a rooftop garden, could integrate green space into urban agriculture. Is there
We make in our local planning, all development must put aside certain portion. How many percent for green area? Let's say for new township, we as a planning authority, all the new township, they have to comply with our requirement. Certain portion, I think 10% of the 10% must the whole township, they have to preserve 10% for green space. Yeah, green space. Yeah, on green space percentage, like 10% of the total development area. And also, we also, like for example, in the planning approval, we ask the developer to provide rainwater harvesting system, so that they can tap on the rainwater, and they put in the tank, so they use the rainwater for reuse the rainwater for cleaning purposes and all that. There are so many things that we do, right? But I cannot remember.
That's great.
We also to give more on green and public spaces. We are actually we encourage the community to do the urban gardening and also the urban farming, so that in each area, in their area, we encourage them, we give them fertilizers, we give them support, we give them seeds for them to embark on urban gardening.
Wonderful.
So,
Yeah. I think we will continue this conversation, and I'm keeping my eye on time. Looks like group 2 is still working on their exercise, so we can continue. I'd like to see mayors who would like to be our volunteer to when we go back to the main room to present a summary of our discussion.
is it all the 4? How many minutes per presentation?
So we have 4 mayors in this room, but I know 2 other mayors have been very quiet. So when we return to the main room, we just need 1 voluntary mayor to help us summarize our conversations.
Okay, agree.
Great, thank you. Thank you for taking up that. So I think we are looking at 4 targets now, and each one received very constructive responses from mayors. Are there any other things that you'd like to add for any one of the four? And in fact, these four targets are quite closely connected. If you look at, we were talking about the compact, the pedestrian oriented, and also mixed use. They are all can be addressed simultaneously for targets. Like to Mayor would like to add anything to those targets and then the data information. One thing I'd like to point out is for mayors, if you are interested in monitoring your progress toward SDGs, so very often is looking at targets associated with each SDG. And those targets very often have well-designed indicators or acceptable indicators that's been established by UN agencies. So thinking about the data you have at your local community level and how you can use the data sets to help generate those indicators, that could be the beginning stage or can lay the groundwork for you to implement voluntary local review.
Indicators of state value is target by utilization. We also have national policies on aging, actually. National policies on aging that guide us to whatever planning we need to consider all these elderly people, elderly persons. So
That's a
at the federal level, they come out with the policy. So we have to, whatever decision that regarding with older persons, we need to refer to the guideline provided by the national policies on aging. So by all means, we have some guidance when we do the development at local level, like providing the infrastructure, like what you call it, when they have to use the wheelchair, so we're giving them with the ramp for them to ease of using the infrastructure in building, especially at the shopping complex and everything. So that is actually monitored in the planning approval. So when they want to do certain development, so they have to comply with the requirement before we as a local government certify they are actually the building is actually good for occupation. Yeah. We call the certificate completion. CCC. What they call it? Certificate for completion.
CCC.
CCC.
That's great. So when you're talking about there's national guidelines, very good. So the national guideline, does that also applicable to help historic preservation, like designate certain area that needs to be protect or preserve in terms of architectural heritage, architectural quality, those kind of a consideration in the national guideline, and the local government needs to apply or implement.
Yeah. Because for the planning approval, they need, because we list down the requirement. So after they build the building everything, so we actually at the local government will give the certificate of completion and compliance once they
Mhm.
are not comply with all the regulation that we set for that building, especially with regard to elderly person, with regard to the women and children, so they are not giving the certificate of completion and also compliance.
So comply first.
Great, great, thank you. So we have less than 1 minute left to leave this breakout room and go back. Thank you for Mayor's your contribution and your constructive responses. It's been very humbling process for me to learn from all your great work. So we'll go back to the main room, and Dr. Annie Apang, really grateful that you will help us summarize our conversation discussions here. So, I have about 10 seconds.